It's me. I'm getting set up here. I don't feel like I'm going to get very far on this. Times are tough. Times are tough. And I don't have the right nib set up yet here, so let's get that one. Rusty nib. Number 1. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. Oh, funny, I've been getting into a lot of other different art styles and things and mediums, and I'm kind of getting interested in gouache painting. I did a couple in my sketchbook. I did this one right here, and then I did this one over here. But to be clear, I'm not good at it. I'm just following a tutorial. But I guess that's what you have to do. To learn anything. So I had another channel a while back called Sketchbook Destroyer, and where I would basically destroy my sketchbook. And what killed Sketchbook Destroyer is I was getting super frustrated with my I have gouache paints, and I was really frustrated with them. And I have the set everybody has. It's the Hemi Jelly Gouache. It's this set. Everyone's got this set. And about half of mine are all dried out now. But it's cool thing about gouache is you just hit it with some water and it reactivates, and you could bring it back to life. Well, I had so many frustrating experiences trying to learn how to paint with gouache. Well, I say trying to learn. I was just painting with gouache. I wasn't really trying to learn anything. I was really bad at it. Whoops. And then I saw somebody, it wasn't even a tutorial, it was just somebody going through their process of how they did it. And it suddenly clicked, like how to do it. And so that's when I painted those things in my sketchbook. Now that sketchbook has got really thin paper. It's not meant for gouache or any particularly wet technique. It's like a 100 GSM. But it seemed okay. It was fun. It worked out as long as you didn't throw a lot of water on the page. Now I want to I feel like that if I can learn that technique, or at least that medium, that I can expand those skills into all of the other things that I want to learn, which is, I really want to pick up the mixed media stuff with the gel crayons. That is a big deal. Because even if you're just drawing with pen or pencil or whatever in your sketchbook, you can always kind of put some color behind it. And that's the whole reason I got my water-based markers or watercolor markers. The whole reason I got into, well, that, and then what else? There was something else I did too. Well, the watercolor markers, and then the gel crayons, probably. But I also kind of got back into my Neocolor, Caran d'Ache crayons. And I got back into, I even did some watercolor, and I also did, what was it? Well, a couple of different things. I mean, it's a real struggle trying to, improve your skills. Whoa. And I want to make stickers. Like, I saw somebody making stickers, and I thought that was really cool. I brought my printer up, and I was like, I'm going to figure out how to do the sticker paper, and then maybe I'll just cut them myself or something. I'm convinced now that I just got to send it off to, Sticker App or wherever. Probably Sticker App. All right, let's take a look at it without All right, that feels pretty noir. Let's put some wrinkles in it. I'm gonna put another shadow back here. Hmm. I think if I do shade his face, which I want to do, we're going to use, and I have it in the wrong place here. No, it's in the right place. I'm not going to use full black. I could use, let's put another layer, and we'll call this tones. We've determined that even though we're not going full screen tones, we're slightly going with screen tones. And the screen tone we're going for is the diagonal. Is it the shader? No, it's a classic. It's so there's rough dot. There it is right there. It's the 45-degree line. So am I on the right? I'm in the right. And I even think that I could something like that, like kind of an implied triangle. I have the ability to go even darker. I can go up to well, that doesn't look good that way. I want to do it like this. And this is supposed to look a little bit like duotone, if we do it right. Like that duotone paper. Duotone had a set um, pattern in it. A set pattern. So let's take a look at it without the. No, without the pencil. That looks okay to me. I mean, a bit of this is looking a little too pat, a little too clean. I think this is okay, and I could even go a little bit harder on the background. Let me get back into the inks layer and back into my rusty nib. And we could do some of this background wall textures. And these are just science fiction wall textures. I really recommend you think about the, like if you're drawing or designing a world, think about the different, because you don't need much. Something like that, that the Myrdramites have everything as either an egg shape or a hex shape, because that's what's in a hive, right? Um, there's bugs in the hive, and the bugs are laying eggs, and the hive-shaped cells, the hex-shaped cells are in the hive as well. So that kind of works right there. Let's put a we're gonna call it the bubble layer. Bubbles. Technical pin. Um, all in a day's work. And then he's busted. Now, if you listen to one of the other videos, I was explaining that my original plan was to have him just killed off in this scene, but I think I'm going to keep him around. And I think it will be a good thing to keep him around because he becomes a window through which we can kind of experience the, what's going on back in the hive. That's my new trick, by the way. When you're drawing a mouth, I always had trouble figuring out mouths, and there's a really simple way to do it, and it's these blacked out corners. I mean, I'm not saying it looks perfect or anything like that, but it always looks okay. Like, it always looks fairly okay. Oops. And when you draw simply, like I do, I have a very simple drawing style. That's a tangent. It's just too close. Yarrow, stop right there. I think we have to put it right there. You might be wondering why I'm doing that, and the reason is, let me show you. Because all my other lines were tangenting his antenna, and now they clearly cross the antenna. Like, you can tell the antenna is still part of the antenna. And there's no confusion. However, let's finish up some tones here. 10% tones. I feel like I've gone a bit overboard in the past with the tones, like on Book of Ruin, but I didn't. I'm learning how to use them. I'm certainly getting a lot out of them. In a day's work. Sounds good. Says, Ravos, what a nice surprise. I think you should stammer more, like, Ravos. What a nice surprise. What a surprise seeing you here. Um, think of, like, when you're creating your comic, you have to think about stage management. It's like you're writing a play. And, of course, all of that seems obvious. You go, of course, it's written with a script. It's got all these different, there's acting involved. But you may not realize what you're really got yourself into. It is, you really are responsible for all of it. This weekend on Sunday, I don't know if I mentioned this, I just saw Asteroid City. I think I did mention it yesterday. And there's this play within a play that is part of, no, that's part of the movie. And like, I'm still trying to figure out what the movie meant. Like, what was there was so much symbology and stuff going on. And why was it a play within a play? And actually, it was a documentary of a play within a play. So there's so many different levels. Am I at the right? I do. It's part of his tail structure. Oh, he's got wings too. I think I'll, rather than put his tail there, let's put his wings instead. And her wings are going to be important. Then his wings will be down here. You could have some kind of like a gem or a jewel. Make sure I remember it. Okay. Wondering how that looks without the pencil. That looks okay, but I don't know if I like. There we go. Maybe that's it. It's looking good. Oh, you gotta take your time. It's one of those things. I may have started and finished a page on a Sunday. Actually, it's a Saturday. That won't always be the case. I heard a funny phrase today. I'm on Tandem. Is anybody on Tandem? Tandem is a language learning app where you join the app and then they start matching you up with whatever language you want to speak. They match you up with a speaker from that language who wants to learn your language, and so you try to like hold a conversation. And somebody, I was talking about, I'm trying to learn Spanish, so I was talking to someone, and I said, yeah, I would one day like to visit Mexico, right? I would one day like to go visit Mexico, and I was just talking about in general terms, maybe somewhere else in South America, you know, Brazil or Uruguay or Argentina. And they said, I would not go to those places if I had an inheritance. I had never heard this phrase before, and they said it in Spanish, but it was so clear. Um, it was like un tampoco. Uh, I wouldn't go. Ir buscar al gerencia, I think, something like that. It was very funny. So obviously there is danger in those places. I thought that might be a sore spot, so I was avoiding the topic of, what is South America like? And I was, put yourself in this position. What would you talk about? So I'm like, oh, it's very interesting, and I would, So I was talking about the places that interest me. I wouldn't go there to look for an inheritance. All right, these are these bug guys, the guards. And then these, I'll take a look here. They do not have wings, but she definitely has wings. And they both have antenna. And as I mentioned before, these are kind of like battle droids. We're going to see them in other parts of the comic. Although most of the action, the way I foresee it, and I should caveat this that I haven't actually gone further than an outline when I start these things, is that most of the action is going to take place on another planet called Brutalor. And Brutalor is going to be this savage planet where a war has taken place and it's just littered with destroyed war machines and robots and wreckage and ruins, and then overgrown with jungle or desert. Maybe desert. I like them both, desert and jungle. Well, what can you say, you know? But when you're designing characters like this, you have to think about, you know, all the different environments you're going to try and create. And the plants and the animals. You know what I mean? You got to think of all that stuff. All right. All right, that worked. Let's do this one. So I'm actually, you know, I'm doing this comic video and I love making comics. I've heard other people talk about, oh, I can't believe people actually love making comics. But I do. Someone was even like low-key insulting. They're like, people who draw comics every day, they aren't very good. Their art isn't above like high school level. Somebody said that, and I was like, well, I'm not saying my art is great or anything like that, but don't you think that you would gain some practice? Like, wouldn't you have the benefit of you know, repetition and things like that? And how good is that guy's art? I don't know. Dun 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 dun. Bruja, bruja, brujeria. I've also been trying to figure out how to buy a new car. I have the money, I'm pretty sure, for what I want to get, which is a better car than the one I have now. Although, you know, I guess it's all relative. I have a little tiny Chevy Spark. Minimal options. It's got like, you know, crank windows and a manual door locks. Runs great. 55k miles. And it's fine for what I am doing right now, which is going back and forth to work, less than 5 miles every day. But what I would like to do is get a van. Because I want to do things like I want to do things with comic shows and I want to do things with music maybe. And I just want to have this van. And I've been just dreaming about it. I'm going to get it eventually. Now, before I was thinking, oh, I need a truck. I'll get a truck and I'll put a truck cap on it or something. Or maybe I'll get an RV. I'll get a truck and I'll have a travel trailer. I'll have all these different, you know, I had all these different ways of like trying to approach the problem of what I wanted to do. And then I saw like this thing about the Toyota Sienna minivan. I'm like, yeah, but those are really expensive. You can't really get many. And I looked at it, and you know what? Actually, the new ones are super expensive. They're like, you know, tens of thousands of dollars, like $30,000. That's too much. $20,000. That's still too much for me. But like an older one is around $10,000. And the other thing is, the price, of course, on a used car, it goes down a lot after they hit 100,000 miles. But the Toyota Sienna and the Honda Odyssey are renowned now for going over 200 and sometimes 300,000 miles and being fine for most of that. And in fact, could probably keep going. What you have to replace is the alternator at that point and the air conditioning system, which is not made by Toyota. All these different other things. And, you know, that's exciting to me. I'm like, all right, well, you can find even one with just 80,000 miles on it or 100,000 miles for cheap. So, maybe I'll get something like that. I think that might be a lot of fun. Yeah, the mileage isn't as good as my um, Chevy Spark, but it's still pretty good, and it's a gas car. I'm not going to get an electric car. We don't have the grid for it, and I think it's folly. But um, we do have other stuff, and so I don't know. I was in a class one time, and this is one of my favorite teachers, so I feel a little bit bad saying this. I was in this class, and we were talking about electric cars, and the teacher was going, "Oh yeah, because they're good for the environment," and of course that's what we're all going to be using, because. And I'm like, no. And by the way, they're not good for the environment. They're not good for the environment. First of all, the exhaust is not the thing that causes particulate pollution in the environment for cars. It's the brake pads. We've largely solved a lot of the exhaust problems with our catalytic converters, but nobody's solved the problem of the brake pads, the dust of the brake pads. And it doesn't matter if you're driving a electric car or a non-electric car. Um, Also, the price of electric cars is ridiculous. It's too high. Too high. And I want to be a traveler. I want to be, oh, look, it's going to ruin her hand, and I love her hand. Tell you what, let's move this. Bravos. What a nice surprise. Let's put it right over there. And then, let's go down to bubbles. We'll use the side of this retaining wall here, this panel wall. And then, there we go. All right, that's looking good. So, anyways, I went out today, and I was looking on the website for the cars, and then I also went and took my own car and cleaned it up, and I got all my junk out of it. And like, there's some of my junk is still in it. I've got some like emergency equipment, like an ice scraper and a sleeping bag and stuff that and a first aid kit that I've always kept in my car. And we're gonna put her in the same kind of royal outfit as dear sister. Now I got to draw these guys. Dromites. I wonder if the dromites should have like claws like that. They have limited manipulation ability, especially the soldiers. Anyways, as I said, I really enjoyed that app, and I learned a couple of phrases. No manches, I learned. And then another phrase I learned was, oh, I have to look it up again. But it was, what a coincidence. And then others phrases I learned that were new to me, but actually very easy to figure out, was es un regalo de Dios. Something like that. It's a gift of God. And I thought, oh, I know that. I can figure that out. Give me a good opportunity to practice mi español. All right. I think that's two good panels. I think we're going to leave it at that for right now. I got 4 more panels to go. That's 1/3 of the page. Stay tuned. Please like, follow, and subscribe. There will be more Princess of Apshai tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Every day. Todos los días post a video. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.